Happy almost 2017, everyone. So, just before 2016 ends, I wanted to get out one more Black Mirror analyst in. So, let's dive into Nosedive. Ha 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 ha. Please kill me. So, what this analyst will be focusing on is the ethics of Nosedive through the Kantian lens of Immanuel Kant. Nosedive tells the story of Lacey, who lives in a world dominated by a rating system in which everyone and anyone can rate you on a scale of 1 to 5 in just your everyday meaningless activities. So Lacey has a cool solid 4.2 rating, but she really wants to get into a 4.5 rating to be in that upper class elite, and so she can live at Pelican Cove, which is like a higher living area. Oh, she ends up getting a call from a childhood friend who happens to be a 4.8 in this upper class, and she invites her to be the maid of honor and to give a speech at her wedding. And so she sees this as the perfect opportunity to get a lot of ratings from very high up people. So this is where Kant comes in. Every character in this episode uses someone as a means. Every interaction, suggestion, every gesture, every conversation is artificial. And Lacey and other characters are always looking for something in return whenever they interact with another character. Nothing in this world is genuine. Take, for example, the elevator scenes. Lacey is merely engaging with this 4.6 to try to get her to give Lacey a 5.0 rating. This is apparent in the second scene when awkwardly offers her a croissant. In turn, she gets a 2.0 rating back. This scene just shows where Lacey will go to get just a simple rating from a stranger, or in this case a higher up coworker. These interactions are very apparent throughout the episode, with the barista in the beginning offering her a extra pastry because they had more, or the man who goes through the aisles with smoothies just because he decided to make them. Everything is artificial. They're always looking for something in return, and Lacey always gives them that return, that 5.0 rating or whatever rating she gave them. Even Naomi, who later on in the episode reveals that she's only using Lacey as, once again, a mere prop to show her higher ranking friends that she's giving charity to help a lesser person, that lesser person being Lacey. Andrew Bailey and Robert Martin wrote in First Philosophy, Fundamental Problems, and Readings in Philosophy on Kantian ethics as to act so as to treat people always as ends in themselves, never as mere means. Here Kant believes every human is valuable, but in Nosedive, everyone sees everyone as an opportunity. The only character who does not use anyone as opportunity is the truck driver Susan, who helps Lacey merely as just a deed, and just as a good human. As you can see at the end, none of them exchange with the rating system. Susan doesn't involve the rating system, hence why she has such a low rating. We can further break this down into Kant's three motives: reward, pity, and duty. Every character's action is based around the reward. So, for example, take the case of a man who has a 2.4 rating. The motives would break down as this. You would give the man a 5-star rating because A, you expect that he will give you a 5-star rating in return. B, you do it because you feel bad for the 2.4, so you want to help him out. Or C, it's your duty from God. Now, all the characters act for the rewards. They expect a 5-star rating back from, or any person in this episode in general. But Susan gave up with the rating system after the death of her husband. She maintained a higher rating her entire life, as you said. So she's not completely in the clear because she used to be what Lacey does, and she probably did what Lacey does to get these ratings. Lacey derived more as just a pity, just as a help. Just as a nice deed. All the characters have seemed to lose a sense of genuine human actions. When the ethics of how to treat a human go, what does society really have? Social control. Since everyone is doing their best to impress everyone around them, society loses a pure element of humanism. The sense of anger and vulgarity. Every word, every action is so perfectly calculated by every individual in this episode. And rarely do people lose their cool. The only two I really remember are Lacey in the airport and Chester and outside when he asks Lacey for some help, and he does. Look at the colors in this episode. They're all very light blues, very light pinks, or even light greens. The opposite of colors of anger, colors of negativity, colors of dull. It's in stark contrast of what the colors you'll see in the final shots of the episode. Lacey's dirty pink dress and the gray cell block with the man with the black suit. The contrast between the two are greatly shown as the evolution of what Lacey becomes at the end of the episode, where she finally has a sense of that freedom from society's control. She finally just lets loose by cursing out the man across the cell. Lacey does her best this entire episode to not act like her normal self, to act within the constraints of society by practicing her laugh, her smiles, by always speaking positively or just having awkward and fake conversation, not do anything or say anything that might come off offensive to whoever she's speaking to. Since lashing out and vulgarity are deeply taboo in this society, just take a look at the airport scene when she curses at the airport attendant. Now, I don't know if anyone has ever worked retail, but I mean, getting cursed at is a pretty common thing. But here it was such frowned upon by everyone else around her that she goes on the double down and she loses a point. Even the security guard says that his job is to restore the calmness to the situation. But was the situation ever escalated? All she ever said was fuck, and maybe in a higher pitched sentence, and that was it. There was never a fight. There was never any other words exchanged. It was just Lacey losing her cool for that brief second, and immediately everyone around her and the security guard reacted negatively to that. And at the end, with the whole wedding scene, boy, that scene is great. Overall, this episode is pretty great. The social messages, the ethics, the philosophy, everything that is brought into this episode all means something. And everything is just so constructed greatly. I mean, you have a simple plot towards the end of the episode, which, it's just kind of the standard, get to point A to point B, and all the bumps along the way, trains, planes, automobiles, the whole 9 yards, wherever that quote is. But it's done in a way that it doesn't feel cliche. It doesn't feel like I'm watching just another movie with the message, with the dystopian that is shown. And also the production in this episode is probably the best of it. All the Black Mirror episodes, I would say. Just the color palettes they use. The score is fantastic. I don't know if you can tell, but I've used it in multiple videos of the Black Mirror series. And it shows the extreme of social media. I mentioned in the Hate in the Nation episode that Hate in the Nation was not the extreme of mob justice, but Nosedive is the extreme of the social media phenomenon, the fanatics of celebrities that we have. Overall, I really like this episode. I don't know if I love it, we'll have to see. But I would like to wish everyone a happy and have a great 2017. And as always, have a great day.